1:52 a.m., February 1st. A ring camera in the Catalina Foothills on the property of a neighbor captures motion. A man walks up to a gate. He's carrying two backpacks, one on his back, one in his hand. The one that he holds is reflective striped. He reaches for the gate latch. It doesn't open. He tries again. Nothing. In 1:53, he turns and walks away. Gone. Just like that. 1 minute, one failed attempt. A single camera which no one was looking at. Someone would be at the door of Nancy Guthrie in half a couple of minutes, 5 miles south. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, daily medication, limited mobility, an electronic pacemaker connected to her phone. The type of a woman who has her family checks in, whose schedule must not alter, whose doorstep was at least one of the places where she could feel safe in her world. She hasn't been seen since. This is File 31, and the tape you are going to hear dissection was not distributed by the FBI. TMZ got it through the hands of a neighbor who likely did not even realize that his or her camera happened to capture something of interest. Only at the request of somebody did they look. That is what leads to this distinction. Supposing you were watching this case till the very end, type File Open into the comments, and in case it is your first time here, stay, since this one is moving at a great rate. The majority of the population learns of the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie and pose the question, who took her? That's the wrong question. The question that should be asked is how many doors did they start with? Since this new footage does not depict kidnapping, it shows a rehearsal, a dry run, a man going up to a property that belongs to someone else, trying to break in, failing, and passing by. And we are in any case now to think that 20 minutes later, one man, perhaps the same man, succeeded. That reframes everything. This wasn't personal, not at first. Nancy Guthrie might not have been picked on the basis of her identity. She was possibly selected due to opening her door. Here's what we know now. The compilation of FBI press releases, law enforcement officials related to the case, and the new footage of TMZ. 1:47 a.m. The Nest doorbell camera of Nancy Guthrie goes dead. This was verified by the FBI last week. They did not say how, they did not say why. However, the camera, which was supposed to be recording her front door, became black 5 minutes ahead of any other occurrence. 1:52 a.m. A ring camera records a man in front of a neighboring house, two backpacks, one on his back, one in his hand. The one that he holds is reflective striped. He tries the gate, can't get through. 1:53 a.m., he leaves. 1 minute, that's all. Then 19 minutes to nothing. No footage, no confirmed sightings, a gap. 2:12 a.m., software on her dead camera notices movement on Nancy at the front door. The FBI never made this timestamp publicly available. TMZ was supplied to it by law enforcement sources. The FBI published that doorbell photo, the face standing in the doorway with the backpack on, the disguise covering it, but they removed the date. Think about why they do that. They expected the populace to recognize the individual. When did they not want the populace to know? 2:28 a.m. The pacemaker application of Nancy Guthrie is disconnected. The heart monitor that relayed information to her doctors that was attached to her heart goes dead. 41 minutes since her camera had stopped. Read that again if you need to. Camera off, gate tested, gate failed, door breached, pacemaker gone. 41 minutes, 5 miles, documented at both ends, and in between a car or a pedestrian without anyone having recognized him yet.
The bag in the door of Nancy has been recognized. CNN matched it. Ozark Trail Hiker Pack. It's Walmart's house brand, about $11. The type of item you pick up off of a shelf without thinking about. But here's the thing. Ozark Trail is only sold in Walmart, nowhere else, and all Walmart stores have cameras at the registers, every self-checkout, every entrance and exit. Purchases using credit cards leave names behind. Even cash dealings are faceless. The reflective stripes of the man in the ring shot are on his backpack. TMZ states that it is unclear as to whether the reflective fabric is on the shoulder straps or by the side. The quality isn't perfect. However, the similarity was so great that law enforcement sources told TMZ that they are directly investigating whether these are the same packs. Provided they coincide, the trail does not stop at the footage. It leads backward to a register, to a receipt, to a person being photographed in a security camera who purchases $11 backpack somewhere before the 1st of February. And the most people miss this. You are unlikely to be using a credit card in case you are purchasing 2 backpacks to commit a crime. Cash is no good, though it does not make you invisible. It only implies that investigators are forced to drag more footage, compare purchase window to what was available in the shelf, match body type, clothing, the time you walked in, the car you drove. The FBI has done this before. They're good at it. You are correct in case you believe that evidence this particular changes the case. Type "trace it" below. It is what this footage proposes to investigators, selecting opportunities in an opportunistic manner. It implies that Nancy Guthrie was not targeted by the attacker due to a grudge or a relationship or money. He chose her due to the availability of her property. Now consider the pattern. 1:52 a.m. Tries a gate, locked, can't breach it, leaves. 2:12 a.m. Shows up at Nancy's door, gets in. The gate of the neighbor had a hold over him. Nancy's home didn't. In case such events are related, it was a person that passed through a 5-mile area, probing the properties, seeking the way of the least resistance, the easiest entry, the weakest lock, the darkest porch. That's not random. That is somebody who is familiar with the territory, knows which streets connect, what are the paths that do not have traffic cameras, which neighborhoods shut down after midnight. You do not put gates to trial in strange country at 2 in the morning. You do it where you have made 100 trips. Good in some place you get pretty far enough to walk to the property of a stranger in the dark and jerk on the latch. This individual resides within this area, or works in it, or used to. The geography informs the investigators about the footage that cannot be said by the footage itself. And this is the point at which it gets bad. It is after the footage was leaked, before the FBI issued the doorbell picture, that investigators did what appeared unusual at the moment. They requested their neighbors to examine their cameras on January 11th between 9 p.m. and midnight, 3 weeks prior to the disappearance of Nancy. Why should they be interested in a video of a date when nothing occurred? They are sure that something did. The question that is being investigated is whether a person was surveilling the area weeks before, not committing a crime, preparing for one, driving the streets, marking down homes with cameras, which gates were locked, what were the dark properties at night, mapping vulnerability. And this time we have a video of a subject trying out a gate at the very night of the actual kidnapping. The pre-planning theory does not simply work, it gains weight. But it gets more specific. Investigators also demand footage of January 31st, 9:30 to 11 a.m., 12 hours prior to the gate incident. They are searching a suspicious car around the house of Nancy around 10 o'clock in the morning. No public description yet, but consider what it would be. Daytime surveillance, then nighttime execution. Study the area in daylight. Identify targets. Back at the time the streets are clear. That's not spontaneous. That's discipline. That's patience. Much patience is the element that renders this type of case so indigestible. Since the individual who kidnapped Nancy Guthrie did not take a snap, they waited, they planned, they tested, and then they acted. By the time you change your perception of this case because of the perception that this was planned weeks in advance, then subscribe. This is what we've been talking about all the day long, and this probe is picking up. Every file builds on the last.
There are 5 miles of road between the front door of Nancy Guthrie and the neighbor gate. Residential streets, maybe a main road or two. driveways, businesses, and cameras. Cameras that people do not even consider. That is the direction which is being searched by the FBI, due to the fact that there was a person or vehicle passing through there between 1:53 and 2:12. And in 2025, nearly no one will be able to travel 5 miles in the suburban area without being caught on something. A gas station, a convenience store, a doorbell, a dash cam on a parked car. The neighbor who had his gate on trial, probably asleep, did not realize that somebody was attempting to break in until investigators arrived, knocking on the door and requesting them to check their ring footage. The camera was automatic in capturing it, silently. The house occupant may not have visited in days, weeks. Therefore, here is the question that keeps investigators up at night. How was it? How many other properties has been entered by this person? What was the number of other gates that were tested? How many other cameras have recorded a person that has 2 backpacks walking up a driveway and the homeowner has not checked it? Since there is another shot footage, the path gets smaller, identifies the vehicle, constructs a timeline so much narrowed, not a place to hide. Check your cameras in case you live in the Catalina Foothills between the home of Nancy and the place 5 miles north of her home where this RIN tape was taken. February 1st, 1:30 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. A person with backpacks, a suspicious vehicle, anything. Call 1-800-CALL-FBI immediately. Don't assume it's nothing. Since the 1st of February, 18,000 tips have reached in. 4,000 of them came within the 24 hours of the issue of the doorbell image by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Such spike is not an ordinary one. It is the case when people watch something familiar to them. And this new filming will cause another wave. Since it is not a one-shot image in time, it is movement, it is behavior, it is pattern. It is a man with a walk through a residential place at early mornings. It is backpacks. It is gates being tested. It is the silent, conscious checking of an item, whether it is locked or not. And all the individual persons in a 5-mile radius simply replayed their memory. Did my dog bark that night? Have I been warned by my camera and did I fail to notice? Did I not wake up about 2 a.m. and hear something metallic? You never forget how someone yanked on your gate at 1:57 in the morning. You simply have no clue it matters until someone informs you that it does. This is a dynamic that has been observed by investigators. Once surveillance evidence is produced of similar behavior within similar time and distance, this creates what they refer to as a cascade effect. The memory changes to become concrete. Individuals begin to form associations. I noticed a person wearing a backpack and he was walking hastily at around 2 a.m. That night there had been a dark car parked in our block. My motion light came on twice. I removed the recording since I believed it was nothing. Can it be recovered? The latter is much more important than it appears to people, due to the fact that there is sometimes a possibility of retrieving even deleted video, depending on the system. And police are aware of systems that automatically overwrite within 24 hours, 7 days, or 30 days. When they are certain of videotaping, they act quickly. All those 18,000 tips are not in a pile. They are logged, time-stamped, mapped, cross-checked with camera positions that are known, flow of traffic, and cell information. Patterns begin to form. Groups of observations between 1:45 to 2:15 a.m., several reports about backpacks, similar descriptions of height, direction of travel. And some therein, in those 18,000 tips, as well as the fresh ones coming in just now, there is a point that limits the field. One license plate digit, one clear reflection. One of the neighbors made the choice to check his cloud backup. Inquiries such as these are not conducted on straight lines. They move in waves, and this is a wave.
At this point, analysts are comparing both videos. They do not simply take a glance at a backpack. They are breaking it down. Strap width, reflective strip placement, the way the weight rests upon the shoulders, the pack bulges on one side or the other. They study gait, that is the way someone walks, the length of stride, the swing of the arms, the angle of the feet. There is nothing as personal as handwriting. They measure the height by referring the subject to the fixed objects, fence posts, door frames, known dimensions. They do the analysis of timing to the seconds. When did the gait test occur? What was the duration of the stay of the individual in frame? What direction did he exit? Minutes to next known sighting. The search radius is being widened by the investigators, not randomly, strategically. All the homes and businesses along the 2 points are made applicable. Doorbell cameras, security systems, business car park feeds, delivery truck dash cameras. Door-to-door canvassing is done by agents and local officers. Did you observe anything between 1:53 and 2:12 a.m.? Did it have a parked car that was parked strangely? Did your dog react? Are you in possession of footage of that night? There are traffic cameras that are under review on the major connecting roads, provided that they exist. Even partial plates help. A make and model estimate narrows possibilities even down to a narrow one. They also are trying to find who in the ring footage man is, that is in comparison with familiar offenders in the region, considering the recent arrests on the same behavior, reviewing parole and probation lists. If the backpacks match, if the timeline holds, should further footage be found of constant traffic in between those 2 points, this case shifts. It ceases to be a question mark and it becomes a trail to follow. According to the law enforcement sources, the FBI is laser guiding on this man. That is not casual phrasing. That refers to attention at task force levels, dedicated agents assigned, hours cut out just on this lead. It implies that resources are not being diluted out. Speculation is not done by agencies using such language. They apply it in cases where there is traction. And a pull in a case such as this can turn everything around in a few days. Nancy Guthrie is 12 days missing, 84 years old, limited mobility, daily medication required. A pacemaker ceased transmission at 2:28 a.m. on February 1st. Her family believes that she is alive. Her daughter Savannah posted publicly, "Our beautiful mom, we will never give up on her." There is a heavy sentence in that. It is so because families never give up, even in cases where timelines are terrifying. It is serious that she was without medication 12 days in her age. Very serious. Some prescriptions cannot be just suspended. It is not well tolerated in the body. When the transmission of the pacemaker stops at 2:28 a.m., this limits a window. It creates a timestamp. It grounds the investigation into a particular point in the darkness. Now put that in side by side with the footage. A man with backpacks, experimenting with a gate 5 miles away, unable to gain entry, moving on. 19 minutes afterward, there is somebody at a door where Nancy ought to have been safe. This is the sequence that investigators are looking into. Not emotion, not assumption, sequence. When it is possible to map the movement between one point and another in a uniform period of time, that reinforces the theory that these incidences are related. The map will be clearer in case the path is verified by other cameras. And should someone know that walk, that posture, that backpack, then the silence breaks. This investigation is currently in a precarious position between the unknown and the impetus. Thousands of tips, new footage, a narrowed timeline, a desperate woman whose last electronic contact at 2:28 a.m. Her family is waiting. Investigators are working. And in those thousands of data points, there may be an overshadowed fact that makes the difference between searching and finding.
Here is what strikes me about this one. The neighbor who has the padlocked gate will not have any idea of how close he came. Their lock held, their camera recorded, and they slept the entire affair. And 5 miles distant, a woman who had to be medicated, who had an app keeping track of her heart rate, who was loved by her family, and who took the time to write about her day after day, she did not have that lock. It is the one that does not go away,
the randomness of it, the geography of it, the perception of safety and disaster being divided by the presence or absence of a latch. This is Last Seen Files, and what we know as yet, 31 files in, is that there is no complete truth on the last record. Another camera. There's always another camera, another timestamp, one more 19-minute gap that somebody, somewhere may fill. When you have ever had a different look on your own front door by the middle of the night, when you have ever looked twice and cannot tell why, take that below. Not because it's a small thing, because it isn't. We'll be here tomorrow, same time, next file.